Section 75 of the Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, translated by Courtney Langdon. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Paradiso, Canto 8. The Third Heaven. Venus. The Happiness of Love. The Spirits of Lovers.
The world was at its peril wont to think that in the third of Epicycle's circling, fair Cypria beamed her sensual love abroad. The ancient peoples, therefore, in their ancient error, with sacrifice and votive cry, honoured not her alone, but with Dione, Cupid as well, the former as her mother, the latter as her son, and used to say that he had sat of old in Dido's lap, and took from her, from whom I here begin, the name-word of the star at which the sun looks fondly, now behind and now in front. Of our ascending to it I was not aware, but that we in it were, my lady, whom grown more fair I saw, assured me fully. And then, as in a flame a spark is seen, and as within a voice is heard, when one remains and the other goes and comes, so I in that light other lamps beheld, whirling with greater speed or less, I think, according to each lamp's eternal vision. Out of cold clouds there ne'er descended winds, or visible or not, so swiftly moving, that they would not appear restrained and slow to one who had perceived those lights divine draw near to us, when they had ceased the circling, among the exalted seraphs first begun. And in the foremost to appear,
Hosanna, 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 Hosanna,
resounded so that I have never since lacked the desire of hearing it again. One then drew nearer to us, and alone began,
We all are ready at thy pleasure, that thou mayst have thy joy of all of us. In one ring, with one circling and one thirst, we with the heavenly principalities revolve, to whom once from the world thou saidst, Ye who the third heaven by your knowledge move, and we're so full of love, that, thee to please, a little quiet will not seem less sweet.
After mine eyes had toward my lady turned with reverent questioning, and she herself had with herself contented and assured them, back toward the light they turned, which of itself had made such promise, and Who are ye, say, was what I voiced with great affection toned. And how much greater did I see it grow in size and quality, with that new joy which when I spoke was added to its joys. Grown thus, it said to me,
The world below had me not long, but had it done so longer, much evil that will be would not have been. The gladness which around me radiates, and like a creature by its own silk swathed, conceals me here, now keeps me hidden from thee. Much didst thou love me, and good cause hadst thou therefore, since had I been on earth, much more would I have shown thee than the leaves of love. That left-hand bank, which by the Rhone is washed just after it is mingled with the Sorgue, looked in due time to have me as its lord, as did the Ausonian horn, which is with Bari, Gaeta, and Crotona towned, and whence the Tronto and Verde bore into the sea. Upon my brow already blazed the crown of that land which the Danube irrigates, when it abandons its Germanic banks, and fair Trinacria, which grows dark with smoke, between Pachinus's and Pelorus's capes, over the gulf which Erus vexes most, not through Tifoius, but through nascent Sulphur, would still be waiting for its kings, through me from Charles and Rudolph sprung, had not ill rule, which always angers subject peoples, stirred Palermo to the point of shouting, Die! And did my brother but foresee this now, the greedy poverty would he avoid of Catalonia, that it harm him not. For verily provision must be made by him or by another, that no load be further laid upon his burdened bark. His nature, which descended mean from one which liberal was, would such retainers need, as would not care to fill their coffers up.
Since I, my lord, believe the joy profound thy speech infuses in me is by thee perceived, where every good thing both begins and ends, as I perceive it, all the more grateful it is. And I am also glad that this thou seest by looking up at God. As thou hast made me happy, make it clear, for thou hast moved me by thy words to doubt, how out of sweet seed bitter seed can spring. This I to him, and he,
If I can show a truth to thee, to that which thou dost ask, thou'lt hold thy face, as thou dost now thy back. The good which turns and sateth all the realm through which thou mountest, makes his providence a power within these mighty bodies here. And not alone are natures in that mind foreseen, which of its own self perfect is, but they themselves, and with them their well-being. Hence all this bow shoots forth falls predisposed unto an end foreseen, as would an arrow aimed at its destined mark. Were this not so, the heaven through which thou now art journeying, in such a way would its effects produce, that ruins they would be, not works of art. Nor can this be, unless the intellects which move these stars are faulty, and the first, who failed to make them perfect, faulty too. Wouldst have this truth become more white for thee?
And I, no, truly, for I see that nature, in what is needful, cannot get fatigued. Then he,
Now say, would it be worse on earth for man if he were not a citizen?
Yes, I replied, nor do I here ask why.
And can he be, unless men there below in different ways for different functions live? No, if thereon your teacher writeth well.
So far he came, deducing thus, then closed,
Because of this the roots of your effects must different be. Hence one is Solon born, Xerxes another, and Melchizedek another, and another he who lost his son while flying through the air. Revolving nature, which is a seal to mortal wax, performs her function well, but no distinction makes between one and any other dwelling place. It hence results that Esau in his seed differs from Jacob, while Quirinus comes from such a common father that ascribed to Mars he is. A generated nature, unless divine foresight prevailed, would always follow along its generator's path. Now that which was behind thee is before, but that thou know that thou dost give me pleasure, I'd have a corollary mental thee. Nature, whene'er she finds a destiny discordant with her, like all other seed in soil unsuited to it, always fails. And if the world down there but set its mind upon the basal plan which nature lays and followed it, 'twould have its people good. But to religion ye now rest aside one that is born to gird him with a sword, and make a king of one that's fit to preach. The course ye take is, therefore, off the road.
End of Paradiso Canto 8.